You brought your favorite beverage, and she brought the career advice. Now sit back and relax while you get advice that will take you to the next destination in your career or business. And now, Katrina Brittingham. After a short hiatus, this is High Tea with me. It is the fall, unofficially, but officially for everyone who has to go back to school and everything. I have a wonderful guest for you. And because I was so busy chatting, I'm going to let him give you a synopsis of himself because I don't have his bio up. So, so blame it on me because I was just so busy chatting up our guest and our interviewer today, um, Dr. The Real Deal Love.
All right, that's me. Hello, hello. This is Ed Johnson, aka Dr. Love. That's Dr. The Real Deal Love, because I give women the real deal. Don't you think it's time?
Yes.
Absolutely, I agree with you. It is time to get the real deal. I'm excited tonight because I'm teaming up with Miss Katrina, and I think it's exciting because the one topic that I'm really committed about is relationships. And relationships, everything revolves around relationships. We talk about that all the time. So, with me being a relationship coach, empowering women, I've been doing this for a few years, and I tell women, if you really want to know the truth, ask someone who knows. Okay? Ask someone who knows, and that's what I've done after being married for over 40 years. I've raised three daughters, and I've worked with women for over 30 years. I've been around, so I have a lot of good information to share with you, and we're gonna share some tonight.
Awesome sauce. And I can tell you because for those of you who've been with me for a minute, he was on Career GPS and we interviewed him from the business perspective and how he created his business, why he created it, his vision. And that impressed me from the door. But then he came to me with a topic, and I had so much to say about it. And I jumped on it. He was like, I want to talk about this. And I said, yes, yes, I have notes.
Mm,
So I am
mm,
prepared.
very good,
So
very good.
we're going to let him start with whatever he wants to ask.
Okay, well, I would like to welcome the Facebook family. We're doing Facebook, we're doing Instagram. I hope everyone's tuning in, trying to get this thing lined up. But just to preface where we're at tonight and what we're going to deal with tonight, and we're only going to scratch the surface tonight, but it's a good start. Okay, uh, I was listening to a gentleman talk, and he was, I guess, to be polite about it, he was kind of zealous about the question, and the question is, what do women bring to the table other than sex? And
Mm,
that's a broad topic. What do women bring to the table other than sex? When I heard that question, I knew within me, I said, that question is the catalyst for me because um, there are a lot of women who, well, let's say it like this here. Women bring a lot to the table, but I'm not sure how many women are able to articulate what she brings to the table. I'm not sure if she's able to share with the male counterpart what she brings to the table. I'm not sure if we as a society really understands all she brings to the table. So this topic tonight, in terms of what a woman brings to the table, is a great topic. It's a hot topic, and I think at the end of it, we're really going to start saying, "Hmm, I didn't know she brought all that to the table." Okay, and that's really thing. One quick story that I'm going to share with you that just shows you where I've been. As you know, I have five children. I've been married over 40 years. I have five children. My wife says to me, uh, I kept you straight. Okay. So, and I have to agree with her. She kept me straight because I have five children. All of my children are with one woman, and this is one of my dreams. Okay, every one of my children that were born, I was in the delivery room with her. I watched each one of them come to this side, and when I come out of the delivery room, every time I say, women are special people. When you see what a woman goes through just to bring life to this side, it's unbelievable. So, needless to say, I said if men had to bring children into the world, I would be here by myself. Me, myself, and I, okay, because I couldn't deal with what all my wife dealt with in terms of bringing children to people. So women are special people. So let's begin just by talking about this here. And Miss Katrina, I wanted to just share with you, just to relax. I'm going to give you some advice that one of my angels gave her mother because I interviewed one of my ladies who was with me at the very beginning, and she was in my first class. Now she's married, happily married with two children, and then I interviewed them, and that interview is on my YouTube channel. But I said, "What do you?" She said, "I'm nervous. What are you going to ask me? Give me some questions." I said, "Listen, you're going to be hanging out with Dr. Love. Don't worry, relax." You know what I'm saying? So I said, "Ask your daughter, what should you do?" And this is from a 4-year-old. She was 4 years old. She was 4 years at that time. So she said to her mother, she said, "Listen, take 3 deep breaths and say to yourself, I can do this."
Mm-hmm.
So that's the advice from a 4-year-old, Miss Katrina.
That's right.
Take 3 deep breaths and say, I can do this.
That's
So here's what I wanted to find out from you. When you first heard that topic, what do women bring to the table? When you first heard it, just off the top of your head, what crossed your mind? What did you think? What thought entered your mind?
well, the first thing I thought about was I just have a lot to say about this because
Mm-hmm.
I have had that question either posed to me or something said to me in that manner that, oh, a woman can't bring anything to me but sex.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, first and foremost, what type of woman are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on, first off, the woman you're dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to what they bring to the table. And that's one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that men need to realize that you have to look for quality,
Mm-hmm.
not just the hips, the thighs, the face. You have to look for a quality woman. And when you're looking for a woman, I would say, in this sense, like you said, you've been married 40 years. Most men are looking for a wife. They might not say it. They already be like, oh, I'm not trying to get married. But most men in the core, they're looking for that one person that they can spend the rest of their life with. So when you're shopping, you
Mm-hmm.
should be shopping for a wife, not just any woman.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, the Bible says, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So that means you find a wife, not just any woman, and you can't change any woman into a wife, just like
Mm-hmm.
you can't change any man into a husband. So that's the first piece. And that's the first thing that I think about when they say, oh, a woman can only give me sex. And I was like, so is that all you're looking for?
Mm-hmm.
So, men have to look at the fact that are they just looking for sex? Because if that's the case, then you're right. The women that you're looking for, nothing, they can't do anything for you or bring anything to the table to you except for sex.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for something different, then there are qualities that you should be looking for. And
Okay.
that's where my list comes in of what a woman brings to the table. First and foremost, and I know I probably will get hate mail, is that a woman takes care of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Women are natural nurturers. Um, most most women are taught how to take care of a home. Hence, when we are children, we're handed baby dolls and we play with kitchen sets and things like that to teach us those values and things like that. Not
Okay.
saying that a man cannot help you with those things, And if you have a wife that works, hopefully you do help them with those things. But she takes care of the home in three ways. Is when I was thinking about it, and the things that a woman does and a wife does is they take care of the whole household. They feed them
Hmm.
physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Okay. Like I like that. I'm going to jump in there right there because you said something that caused me to really think back. You said physically, mentally, and spiritually. And I thought about that when you said, "What does a woman bring to the table?" I want to just be clear on the word table. And when I thought about it and I meditate on it and I researched it out, uh, a table is a piece of furniture supported by one or more legs.
Mm-hmm.
And the table always exemplifies, it's a symbol of more than one person coming to a place to be nourished,
Mm-hmm.
or as the Bible says, coming to the table of reasoning, okay? Coming to the table to uh, begin to share and understand some things. Because if you don't have a table, you don't have a place to really come to. Some people eat on the floor. Some people
Mm-hmm.
eat standing up. But when you have a table, that's a place where we can come together, sit down, and we can begin to be of like mind. The table is a place of coming together. One person can come to the table, but it always exemplifies two or more.
Yes.
Okay. So, and it's a place of nourishment. That's when you said that it's a place to receive nourishment for
Yes.
your growth and your development. All right, so I just wanted to get that in there.
Yes. And it's important to have that table time. When I was coming up, the whole family sat down to dinner together. And it
Hmm.
wasn't just eating, it was a time to talk, discuss the day, how the children were doing, how the adults were doing, sometimes to discuss issues.
Right.
So, what are you bringing to the table? Pretty much, you're bringing your life to the table.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, that's what people have to realize. Not just your life as the man, not just the woman's life as the woman, but your life both individually and corporately. What's going on with you? What's
Hmm.
going on with him? What's going on with the kids? These are the things that are brought to the table. These are the things that are handled at the table. And so
Okay.
that's something when you're looking at the woman, is she just talking about herself? Is she self centered? Are you just talking about yourself? Are you
Hmm.
self centered? Are you just thinking about yourself and your needs? Or are you thinking about the corporate needs? And so that's what a woman brings to the table to be able to talk about those corporate needs, to be able to discuss those things intelligently. Um, they also what happens at the table is handling business. So one of the things that a woman brings to the table is that she handles business. She handles the business of the house. Back in the day when it was men going out to work and the women taking care of the house, the man brought home the check. The woman actually paid the bills and handled the business that needed to be handled for the house for that day.
Hmm.
So it's is she wise enough to handle that, or are you giving her money to pay the bills and your lights get shut off because she either forgot or she spent the money getting her hair and nails done, or some frivolous purchase? So
Hmm.
is she wise enough to make wise purchases? Is she a good steward of the finances? Is he a good steward of the finances?
Hmm.
Um,
Let me just
she,
jump in one more time because you said something that was really powerful. You said something really powerful, and I want to make sure we don't just gloss over it.
mhm,
You said when we come to the table, we're bringing our life to the table. I heard
mhm,
that. We're
mhm,
bringing you're bringing your life to the table, okay?
mhm,
And I want to expound on that just a little bit more because when we say we're bringing our life to the table, we're bringing all of your experiences, past and present experiences,
yes,
good and bad, the pain and the joy, the suffering and the triumphs. You're bringing everything to the table, okay? So that's huge because, and then you went on to talk about the corporation. Um, when two people come together to the table, you're talking about bringing two corporations together. This is a merger that we're talking about could happen. We're not saying it's going to happen, but we're talking about possibility. Am I right?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
because love, we don't talk about it oftentimes, but love is serious business.
Yes.
Okay, when a man and woman come together, this is the most powerful business deal. This is the most important business deal that you're going to make in life. Okay. And I say it like that because I was talking with, I was at an event and I was leaving, and with a name like Dr. Love, I always get a lot of love. So I was leaving an event, and a lady says to me outside, well, she was a young lady. She said to me, "Hey, Dr. Love," I say, "Hey, how you doing?" She said, "What would you tell?" She said, "What would you tell a young lady like me?" She was waiting on her Uber to pick her up. So I said, "How old are you?" She said, "I'm 23." I said, "Are you finished college?" She said, "I'm about to graduate."
Hmm.
So I thought for, and I tell this story all the time, but I haven't told it on this show. So she says to me, "What would you say to a woman like me?" I took a moment and I thought about it. I said, "There are the two of the most important questions that a woman can ask and answer is this. This is the number one question. What will you spend your life doing? What is your career? Are you called to be in business? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a career woman? What what will you spend your life doing?" That's the number one question. And the number two question is, what will you spend your life? Who will you spend your life with?
Hmm.
Okay. Those are the two most important questions that a woman can ask herself and a man, because all of us have to spend our life doing something.
Yes.
Now, the second question is, who will you spend your life with? It affects everything. You could have a multi-million dollar business, and if your home life is not right, you're coming home to tragedy.
Hmm.
Okay. So those are two important questions. So I just wanted to, you brought all that up when you said we bring our life to the table.
Hmm.
Okay. So you struggle core on me with that because we want people to understand everything. And because that's what we talked earlier, it's important to be whole. And that's what we're talking
Yes.
about tonight. Okay. All right, Miss Katrina, go ahead.
Well, no, and you brought up some things that I was going to get into. First of all, both the woman and the man have to be whole. It's two wholes coming together as one,
Mhm.
not two halves. And that's
Okay.
what people fail to realize. People are coming with half lives looking for someone to complete their life. But you have to be whole in order to come together as one
Hmm.
um, in a relationship. And so, what some men and even women have to look at is, am I truly whole? Or am I looking for someone to complete me? I should be complete before I come into this. And so,
Hmm.
a lot of discord in relationships is that someone is looking for someone else to complete them. And then they get disappointed because they can't, no one can make someone whole. You are either whole or you're not. And if you're not whole, then you have to do the work to become whole.
Absolutely. Miss
And
Katrina, are you getting feedback? Someone is telling me on the feed that they're getting feedback or some noise in there. Can you hear anything or are you clear on your end?
I'm clear on my end. I'm not really sure what they're hearing.
It
Um,
sounds like a little metal wheel turning, like a little
uh,
turning.
there might be my air conditioner in here.
Ah, okay, all right. I know we hear a little motor turning.
Okay, so I think we might be having a little bit of internet issues on your end, doctor.
Okay, all right. We'll work through it.
Okay, okay, so we're working on that. Um, the next piece is one of the things you said that was really great, really great is the fact that um, when you were saying that if your home life is a mess, then you're coming home to chaos. Well, that affects business. That's why it's important to have know who you're going to be with. That's like one of the most important things, and what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because when your personal life is in havoc, then your business is going to be in havoc, then your work is going to be in havoc, your whole life is going to.
Okay.
That is one of the reasons why I had the hiatus that I did for some months, because I had some things happen in my life personally, and I had to use that wisdom and say, okay, wait a minute, I have to take a step back and clear
Mm-hmm.
up these things that are going on personally so I can handle business properly and concentrate on business properly. And I
Okay.
think that's one of the things too. If you have a good woman, um, what she brings to the table is being able to say, all right, honey, wait a minute, we got to take a time out and we have to handle what's going on over here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One of the things my brother said, and it was very powerful to me, um, we were just having a regular conversation. Um, and it was about relationship.
Okay.
And he was like, okay, what I found in a relationship, number one, women and men talk two different languages.
Okay.
And so a woman may say something and is translated to a man differently, and vice versa. A man might say something and a woman might translate it differently.
Mm-hmm.
You can use one word, and it was funny because we were talking about, I was like, I was telling um, someone I was in a relationship with something about change. And he's like, oh, I refuse to change. He said, you used the wrong word. What you should have said is, well, we need to adjust this. He said it means the change and adjust means the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it has a different impact. And me not thinking, I was like, what? But it was it's that simple thing. So it's having
Oh,
that proper communication,
mm-hmm.
um, and learning that is something that's learned, and that's why it's kind of good to have a male in a household or a male that you can talk to. You know, family preferably, because you don't
Yeah.
want to tell your business to somebody else who might be potentially trying to get with you
Mm-hmm.
about your
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And same for a man. You want to talk to somebody that you know has your best interest, preferably somebody that's related, not somebody that's trying to get with you, and everything, to give you some sound advice. And what he said to me was, I've learned, he's been married for some time and some years, and he was with her for some years. Um, but when he was in the dating phase, he was like, well, I wasn't sure if she belonged, because I was like, I gotta have someone like me because we're totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I found that I needed someone different, someone that thought different. He said, because when I was in crisis and I'm all hype and out there, the person that was like me was hyping out there too. There was no one to bring me back in. There was no one to give me a different perspective. And he said, my wife gives me a different perspective. And he said, I found that I need a different perspective. And then he went further, said, men need a different perspective. Now, this
Mm-hmm.
was way before you even came to me about what women bring to the table and everything. Well, not way, but like about 2 to 3 weeks before that. And so when
Mm-hmm.
you came to me about that, that's one of the first things that came to my mind, is that a woman brings a different perspective
Yes.
to situations, just like a man brings a different perspective. When
Mm-hmm.
I go through things in life, whether it's business or what have you, I ask a man and I ask a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I consider both, and then I make my decision, because you're going to get a different perspective from a woman, and then you're going to get a different perspective from a man. And
Absolutely.
so that's what a woman brings to the table, is that different perspective, that softer perspective.
Mm-hmm. That is so important. That is so important because, you know, I say it like this here. If both of us are the same, one of us is irrelevant.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
So as you shared, you've got to have a different perspective. You got to have the yin and the yang. Okay. So that's that's a must in any relationship. I was just, I use the example of a car battery. You know, there's not a positive side and a positive side. There's not a negative side and there's a negative side. There's a positive and a negative. You've got to have the complete circuit. You know what I'm saying? And that's when we talk about women and what they bring to the table. this is what you're talking about, a different perspective, a different dynamic. Okay, so important. You're doing great.
So as far as a woman handling business, we covered a lot, but she's an entrepreneur in her own right. And what I mean by that is she doesn't necessarily have to own a business. Some women do.
Hmm.
Some men find that intimidating.
Okay.
Um, and I say that even from my own personal experience as being a multi-business owner.
Hmm.
Um, it can be tough. Um, having someone to be able to handle that and to be able to allow me to be the woman in the house, but also to handle the business, handle the business that I need to handle as far as business. But you know, handling being that entrepreneur because if you look at most moms, they're juggling different things, especially if they have children. They're the soccer mom, they're this, they're that, there are committees for the kids. And all of that is business. There's business pieces, things that have to be paid for, things that have to be managed.
Hmm.
So she's an entrepreneur in her own right, handling these small little enterprises that
Okay.
have to do with her children and also her husband. And
Okay.
so she has to have that mindset to be able to handle that business and handle that business independently of her husband,
Hmm.
taking some of that load because we are the helpmate, taking on some of that load. That's what the helpmate does, helps. So he has to be able to trust her that I'm handing this off to you and that you can handle it. It's not saying that, okay, I might not, if I run into some issues, it's like when you're at work, you handle the business for the most part. Now, if a fire happens and you have to include the manager, then fine. So if a fire happens, you need to include the husband, but he needs to be able to trust, like, okay, she's not going to come to me unless, like, she really needs me. She's not going to come to me for every step.
Okay.
And so she has that entrepreneurial mindset as like, okay, I have to get this done. This needs to get done. What steps do I need to take to get this done? Okay, I woke up today. Johnny needs to go to soccer. I got to make sure that I have dinner on the table. This might be Tacos Tuesday. What I need to do to
Mhm.
get Taco Tuesday done.
Okay.
Aside from that, I have to wash the clothes, clean the bathroom, do this, do that. And they have that plan to make sure that things get done. So that's uh, under the handles business topic. Do you have anything to say before I move on?
Well, you when you were talking about that, the perspective of a woman, and we play that down a lot of times, and we kind of like we don't really talk about the the business capacity of women. So we don't talk a lot about that. Okay, we really and you really that's a major area because there are a lot of women that are making six figures. There's a lot of women that are financially accomplished. Okay, and men have to understand just because a woman has earned $1 million a year, it just has no effect what a man brings into her life.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? See, most men will equate the fact that she makes more money than me lessens me, but it doesn't.
Exactly.
It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So when you said we bring our life to the table, see, that's one of the things that you're going to notice. That's the reason it's so good to come to the table
Mm-hmm.
because he's going to bring all his inadequacies to the table because men, we have inadequacies. We don't like to talk about it, but we have inadequacies. And there are a lot of men, I won't even say most, but there are a lot of men who feel if she's making more money than me, I, I have a hard time with it because he doesn't really know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know what he brings to the table. He doesn't know finances is just one part of the relationship. It's just one part. It's like sex. Sex is just one part of the relationship. It's not everything.
Right.
So when you add the sex, the money, the conversation, how you talk to me, how you handle me, the respect that you bring, the consideration that you have, the thoughtfulness,
Mm-hmm.
I bring the relationship as a plethora of things. Okay. So we've got to start understanding there are a lot of women that are going to be making a lot of money, but guess what? She still wants that man by her side. And I'm not talking about just no yes man. I'm talking about a real man
Mm-hmm.
that has grown, developed, and mature. And just because she's able to write a check for $10,000, he should be able to write his check for $2,000 just the same because he's
Exactly.
got he's got some things going on too. Okay, so that's the reason it's important when we're at that table to begin, as you shared, we bring in our life to the table, all of my mistakes, all the things that I should have been doing. I had an I had an example. I say this about my daughters, because all of my daughters are graduates, professional women. And here's the reason I say this. And you ladies need to know this because you're going to be hearing more from me on the show. I had an aunt who she went to college, got a master's degree, and she met a man who became her husband. Now, when she got to the point where he started medical school, but he hadn't finished, and she had to decide whether or not they were going to get married or whether or not he was going to go to medical school. So here's the decision. Honey, I'll work while you go through medical school. So she worked while he went through medical school. And
Mm-hmm.
after he finished medical school and got his practice started and started thriving in the medical arena, uh, most women would be able to tell me what happened. I'm gonna give you one guess, Katrina. What happened?
He exited.
Ding, 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 ding. Very good. Very good. Okay.
Mhm.
Because here's what I share with women, and that's the reason I'm in this arena. If you meet a man and he hasn't finished medical school just yet, and you're thinking about marriage, I say hold off on getting married
Mhm.
because it's important to understand he has some inadequacies in his life, just like you have some in yours.
Mhm.
So if he's not finished medical school just yet, give him more time because he's a little behind on his time. When he should have been finishing medical school, he was doing something else.
Right.
We're not going to hold that against him. We're just going to give him more time. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
So we need to date a little bit longer. We need to talk a little bit longer. We need to continue to laugh a little bit more before we commit because both of you have to do some growing in the relationship.
Exactly.
And that's why so many men and women find themselves in relationships that are not going where they need to go because your greatest opportunity in life is to develop and grow yourself.
Yes.
Okay. And don't try to take on another person, another man or another woman for your own inadequacies.
That's
Okay.
right.
Because the only thing money does, here's what money does. Money only magnifies who you are. And when you take on a man and you're not whole, you only magnify in his eyesight
Mhm.
what you're lacking.
Exactly.
This is one of Dr. Love's famous quotes. Never underestimate what a man notices about you.
Exactly.
Never underestimate. He notices your strengths as well as your weaknesses. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So that's important. All right, Miss Katrina. Good.
That was some great wisdom. And also, like when you're going to school, you're discovering yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're discovering what you want. You're discovering what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, and I feel like that this not as often on the female side, but it happens on the female side too. That once they get what they want or become who they want, they realize that the person sitting next to them or laying next to them is not the person they want. So, like you said, you're growing together, but
Mm-hmm.
there are some rudimentary things that you have to grow on your own with, and you have to see who you are, what you want, and what you want out of life.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like that you said, because again, I again, as being a businesswoman, I've come up with that. I've had men tell me, well, what can I give you? You have everything already. And my answer always to them was, well, if I have a house together, we should be able to get a bigger house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I already have a car, I might be able to get a nicer car with you,
Mm-hmm.
or you might be able to buy your own car or a nicer car, and we have that together. Instead of having a row home, we can have a single house with two-car garage and all of that. There are some things that you can add, um,
Okay.
because what people fail to realize too is that, yeah, I may have a house, but this was my single woman house.
Okay. Got you. All right. I got you.
Um, I may
This is
have a
what I
car, but
produce
this
on
was
my
my
own.
single woman car.
Got
So
you.
the ideal for marriage, and it's even on the same with the man because he'll have his bachelor pad.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain dreams and goals in marriage that you may not, and probably it should have because you're not married, that you have not attained singly. And
Yes.
so, even with the concept of money, I think both men and women kind of get that wrong. Oh, I'm the breadwinner, so I'm gonna tell you what to do as a woman to a man, or or a man feeling insignificant because the woman has the bulk of the money. All of that stuff comes with maturity.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't make you less of a man. You're still a man.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make me, oh, I'm wearing the pants in the house. I just happen to bring in more money. I just happen to get to a certain place in my career or have gotten some degrees or worked my behind off in business. With you
Mm-hmm.
there, I might not have to work as hard in business, because right now I'm hustling. I might not
Mm-hmm.
have to hustle as hard or shouldn't have to hustle as hard because you're here. These are the things that um, need to be considered. And I feel like in our society, things are placed in a certain category as being stronger, and this what makes you a man, this what makes you a woman, and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. And it's not the whole thing of we're coming together. My money is your money. We're together. We're married. This is our money. This is not just my money. You know, that's what it needs to be looked at, whatever. But then it comes down to trust on a female side as well as a male side. Can I trust you with this money?
Oh,
Because
that's
in the grand scheme of things, I spent my whole life building this money up.
mm-hmm.
Are you going to bankrupt me in a month
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know how to be a good steward of money?
Mm.
So these are the things that need to be considered. It's not the fact that I make more than you. It's the fact that can I trust you
Oh.
with what I built over my life to this point?
Mm-hmm.
Can I trust your leadership?
Mm.
Can I trust that you are just like you have to trust me with the household business? I have to trust you as the head with my whole life. I have to
Mm-hmm.
trust you with the things that are happening in the house, outside the house. If I get stranded on the side of the road because I have a flat tire, are you able to change that tire?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, these kind, or even if you can't, do you have AAA?
Mm-hmm.
these,
Okay. Yeah.
these are the kind of things that seem like they're not important, but they're very important.
Very important.
And if we're stranded on the side of the road and I'm panicking, are you panicking too, or are you calm enough to say, well, no, babe, wait, we okay. I know you see those trucks whizzing by. Just come on over here to the side
Mm.
and let me handle it and everything like that. Everything's gonna be fine. Like,
Mm.
can you handle life in a household
Yes.
as a man? Can you handle life in a household as a woman? These are the things that need to be considered. And if you have a good woman, that's what she brings to the table. She also brings out the best in her man.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I say that is like, she's wise in words because we all have it, men and women. Men have a little bit more, that, aggressive nature and being up, oh, this is, do you have the wise words that can talk him down?
Okay.
Do you have the wise words that even if you can't talk him down, sometimes you can't, that you let him walk away,
Mm-hmm.
let him walk away
Mm-hmm.
um, from the situation Get herself together and come back and have that conversation and say, okay, when he's ready to talk, because he might not be ready to talk when he comes back in, but when he's ready, do you have those wise words to give him that female perspective? We talked about that earlier. Or
Okay.
to see things from another side. Well, babe, yeah, I saw that situation, but you know, you kind of came a little sharp there and it kind of changed the whole situation. And
Mhm.
just, having those words so he can see himself, because a lot of times we find ourselves in conflict where we only see our perspective, but we don't see that other side. We don't see that, okay, this escalated because my words were kind of sharp,
Mhm.
or this escalated because the words I used were not feasible. And then do you have the wiseness in words that when he's getting on your last nerve, that last one,
Mhm.
it's tap
Okay.
dancing on it, to be able to still say things in a way that's not destroying him, because we as women, we got a tongue and we can tear a man up.
Mhm.
We can, especially a man that cares for you and values your opinion. We
Okay.
can absolutely destroy a man with something that we say. And it can be one of the hardest things because men are known for pride, but women have a whole bunch of pride and ego too.
Mhm.
And so, can you manage yourself enough to say those things, the right things? And if you don't, are you humble enough to apologize?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. And what came to me, and I said I'm going to write this down. I picked up my ink pen to write this down. When you talked about coming to the table, it came to my mind just to share with our listeners. When we said, "What does a woman bring to the table?" The question that came to my mind is, "Can I trust you to show up at the table? Is this you at the table? Is this just a version of you at the table? Is this what you want to show me at the table? Can I trust you to show up at the table?"
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing. I mean, we all got the side. This is the side of me I want you to see. Okay, this is the side of me that I show everyone. But what is the real you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So can I trust you to show up at the table? You hit a magic word for me there when it comes down to trust. Trust, you know, here's Dr. Love again. Trust is the foundational, fundamental ingredient in every relationship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can I trust you to be who you say you are?
Yes.
Can I trust you to do what you say you're going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Can I trust you with the resources and everything that I own and have? Can I trust you?
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't, if we don't have trust, we don't have nothing.
Right. Because when it comes down to trust, trust brings about vulnerability. Can I be vulnerable around you?
Mm,
And can I let my guard down, like you said, because I have my guard up with the whole world.
hmm.
I have, and it's still my personality, but I have to be a certain way at work. I
That's right.
have to be a certain way around my children. I have to be a certain way around my family and friends.
Hmm.
But with you, can I just be me?
Can I just be? Can I just be? Can I be free?
And that's what a woman brings to the table.
Yeah.
And hopefully that man brings to the table too.
Hmm.
Because if you can, as a man, if I can be vulnerable around you, baby, you got everything.
Hmm. Yes. Yeah. That's
And
good.
that's what people fail to realize.
Yeah. Can I be free and you still love me? I
Exactly.
like to rhyme that up like that. Can I
Yeah.
be free and you still love me? Okay.
Hmm.
That's important because when you see all of me, you know what I'm saying? Will you still love me
Exactly.
unconditionally? Will you still love me in spite of,
Yes.
regardless too? I saw you at your worst.
Yes.
See, those are the things that you really want to understand because in relationships, that's the reason we're doing what we're doing. in relationships, business, when it comes down to love, when it comes down to health. Sometimes you got to be there when the health is not where it needs to be. Those are real issues that men and women deal with.
Yes.
And can I trust you? So
Yes.
I mean, we hit a lot on trust. All right, I'm gonna let you move. I'm gonna let you move us forward. Go ahead.
Well, we're about to go a break in a minute, but the song that came to me was like, "Will you still love me?" Is "Will you still love me tomorrow?
Yes,
Will you
yes.
still love me after you've seen me
Ah,
just go completely off?"
oh, I love the fact that you brought a song in there. I'm a songster at heart. Will you still love me? I love it.
Music is I have a song for everything. Something pops in my head for just about everything.
Oh,
But that's the one that came in, and this and that if you listen to that song, it's the person being vulnerable, and it's like after you see me vulnerable, after you see all my scars, after you see all my imperfections, are you
mm,
going to still love me? Are you still going to love me tomorrow, or when I wake up in the morning, am I going to have a note on my pillow saying thanks for the good time? You know,
I
but I'm
love you,
out. I
baby,
can't
but I
handle
got to go. I got to go.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't handle this. But we are going to go to commercial. We actually went a little bit late, but we're going to go to commercial for 30 seconds, and then we're going to pick up and move it forward.
All right. We'll be back. Okay.
The business and entrepreneurial world is full of talk. Talk, 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 talk. Enough. We take everything you've learned, leverage it, and give you the actual tools you need to put all the talk into your walk. Attend the conference that's all about action, strategies, and real ROI. Your executive GPS ticket includes access to seminars and workshops where you'll learn business financing, such as loans, grants, venture capital, and angel investors. Business strategies, human capital strategies, such as hiring contractors versus employees. Government contracts. Register today. www.theexecutivegps.com.
She don't
Okay,
just
and we're back.
she don't just go along.
One second. We're back on the air.
All right, we're back. All right, we're back. Hello, we're back.
Um, well,
I was
that
having
was
I was having a little quick chat with my Facebook family, so I'm back. Forgive me. All right.
so that was the Career GPS, the Executive GPS conference, where we'll have executives. You'll come in and be able to learn what you need to do to start up a business, um, grow your business, and thrive in business. As we know, the economy is kind of right now, we don't know what's going on. We've gone from in person to strictly virtual to kind of a hybrid. We started going back and now we're going back out. So the conference will help you to navigate those things so you can get back to work, manage your employees and things like that. So come and join us and register today. All right, so now we're moving on. You mentioned this before. I was like, I was checking off things on my list. Is number one, a woman is a hard worker, and it doesn't matter whether if she's a housewife and she stays home. She is a hard worker. I had the privilege of having women in my family who were entrepreneurs and women who worked. I would have the privilege of having women in my family who were housewives and they took care of the house.
Mhm,
A lot of times people look down on housewives like they didn't do anything, like they were home eating bonbons all day.
mhm,
That is not the case for a good woman. She's washing clothes. She's making sure, like, if, pretty much you know a good housewife if everything in that house runs seamlessly and you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
mhm,
It's pretty much the same when you're working in business. When everything works, you know it's working right.
mhm,
When everything is seamless, you know it's working right and you know people are working hard behind the scenes. Most of the time, people don't know what's going on behind the scenes until something breaks. That's why you have the customer service line and everything like that. So when you see things in the home that's not going smoothly, that means something is broke. Okay. And so that's what people fail to realize. Something in there is broken. All right. But She takes care of the man. She takes care of the children. She takes care of any guests in her home. She takes care of herself. That takes a lot. There was a story that I saw years ago, and I was working, and it came through the email,
Mm,
and it said a man and his wife were sitting on the couch watching TV. The man stretches. I think I'm gonna go to bed. He goes to bed. The woman says, I'm tired too. But she picks up the dishes, wash the dishes. She puts a load of clothes in the laundry. She makes the lunch for the husband and the kids for the night. And then after she does all of that and all of the things that need to be done and turns the house down and all of that stuff, then she goes to the bed with the husband sound asleep and then she goes to sleep.
mm,
Those are the inner workings of the house because when that man and those kids get up, she gets up, gets them dressed, they got their lunch, they out to school. They didn't see the behind the scenes stuff that, okay, I had to wash all the towels, I had to wash your undies, I had to wash your clothes, all of that stuff. They're just going to their drawers to get the stuff. They're packed, they have their bags. Most of the time the book bag is already packed 9 times out of 10 by the mom and everything, and the lunch is there and then handed back, and she gets in the car and drops him off, walks him to the bus stop, kisses her husband, and he gets in the car with his lunch and he goes about the day. He was asleep. He didn't see none of that stuff that was
mm.
prepared. So she's a hard worker. She's taking care of those things.
And that's it.
Okay.
But let me just share this because um, when we talk about a homemaker, when we talk about what we call a housewife, and we could do a whole show on this because uh, the woman gets played down. That role gets played down so much when it comes down to a woman that stays at home. And it was fortunate for me that when my children were raised, my wife stayed home and raised the children. She didn't work while my children were being raised. And that was quite a sacrifice for me, but it was also quite a sacrifice for her because she's giving up her career, she's giving up her time out. She's with 5 children all day long.
Mm-hmm.
When did she get adult conversation? When did she get adult interaction? And where's her pay coming from? I mean, I'm covering and paying bills, but nobody's giving her a direct check. You know what I'm saying? Do
Right.
what you want to do with it. Okay. So when it comes down to the woman and those children and taking care of the home, the woman is taking care of our most precious commodity, the children.
Yes.
When you turn on these TV shows and when you listen at the radio and you hear what children have gone through, when you hear what boys have experienced, when you hear what girls have gone through, you're going to say, who was watching these children? Who was supposed to be covering these children at this time? So when we get it all into this, she need to work like I work. No,
Mm-hmm.
she need to stay home. We got to start understanding that we need to bring that to the table so that we understand as a man, and we want more men to be able to say this. I want my wife to be able to stay home. I want her to have the option to be able to stay home when the children need. I want her to be able to stay home comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And not only say that, but prepare ourselves and our finances, our business, prepare ourselves to be able to accommodate her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, these are the things, these are the conversations that we need to be brought to the table because believe you me, when it's all said and done, she's got to look out for her husband. Because as I tell my wife, all my children are grown. We're about to be empty nesters now. You know what I mean? My two grandchildren, they're about to leave. So it's going to be her and I.
Mm-hmm.
It was her and I at the beginning, and it's going to be you and her at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to understand at the beginning, at the table, you want to settle some things down because a relationship is not 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Just start talking about it now. It's not 50-50. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's 50, sometimes it's 60-40, sometimes it's 80-20, sometimes it's 90-100. Sometimes you got to carry things because she can't.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she got to carry things because he can't.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So a relationship is not 50-50. Okay. You want to understand sometimes you got to push and sometimes you got to pull.
Yes.
Okay. You do what's ever necessary to advance us as a team. Okay.
Right.
So don't underestimate when that woman stays home and does what she needs to do to handle the business of the home, because that's serious business.
It is.
All right, serious business. All right,
And the first thing somebody says when there's a child acting up is, "Where's your mother?" They don't ever say, "Where's your father?"
you are so right. You are so right. Where's your mother?
Where is she?
Or this one here. Your mother should have trained you better.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
see, you nailed it with that one. Where's your mother? It's always the mother.
And so, and it's a very weighty job. What people fail to realize, and if you take it and break down all the things that a mother does, all of those are individual jobs. Childcare, there are services to wash your clothes,
Hmm.
clean your house.
Hmm.
All of those have price tags to it, and this woman is doing all of this stuff for free.
Hmm.
Um, and everything. So it is a lot to it. But I want to move because we're at the end of the hour.
Well,
But the one thing I wanted to
I
get,
told you we were just going to scratch the surface. I told you that at the very beginning. We were just going to scratch the surface.
yes, and yeah, definitely, because this is a weighted conversation. But I wanted to get the discussion
Good.
in there. But what I wanted to point out is these two things on the way out is that a woman brings to the table that pretty much when we talk about it, she makes things happen in the natural and the spiritual. She prays for her husband. That's big. She
It is.
prays for her husband because there are gonna be times when that man is going through and you really can't do anything about it. Something. Life happens. And so you have to be able to pray that man through while encouraging him and everything and supporting him in his endeavors and
Hmm.
supporting him in work, supporting him in if he's in a business. Sometimes that business will be doing great, sometimes that business won't be doing so great.
Mm-hmm.
Can you support him doing that? Sometimes he'll be working and sometimes he'll get laid off. That's just the way life is.
Hmm.
Can you support him through that? Like you said, sometimes like we may be working together and he loses his job. I have to handle the bills while still letting him know that you're a man and you're fine. I'm not talking down to you because you don't have a job. Life happens.
Hmm.
Same thing on the woman's side. If she's working and then all of a sudden she finds herself out of a job, that doesn't make a woman seem less than a woman. But in our society, it makes a man. They put it like a man is less than a man because he got laid off or he's going through a hard financial time. And that's not the case at all. It's not even that he couldn't even do his job. When COVID happened, so many people lost jobs, and these are jobs that have not come back and will not come back.
Hmm.
And so now you may be in a place as a man where you spent your whole career, 20 years, 15 years, 5 years, whatever, working to do this, may even have a degree in it, and now it is totally gone and it's totally obsolete. And now this man has to rebuild his life back together. Are you
Hmm.
able to support him through that?
So important. That's so important. That is so key. And I thought about that because and that's a good note to end on in terms of praying him through that. Same by the same token, praying her through it.
Mm-hmm.
We want when we talk about relationship, what is a relationship? A relationship is how two people in a ship relate to each other.
Exactly.
How are you relating to each other? And when we talk about what do you bring to the table, what we're bringing to the table is the possibility of two people becoming one. That's the reason
Mm-hmm.
to start. The start is so important. If we can get this thing started right, we could end up right. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's why we're out on the front run. We're out in front, championing this thing because I've been, like I said, I've been at it for over 40 years, and I've made all the mistakes. I've done all the wrong things, and through it all, at the end of it, as you grow and develop as a person, you start growing, developing as a team. Okay, and and I'm going to say this in closing. My wife gave me a card and I love it. I save the cards that my wife gives me because she don't tell me certain things all the time, but sometimes she tells me this. And this is what the card said. She said, Ed, she said, all love stories have a tough beginning sometime and a happy ending. She said, but out of all the stories I hear, she said, I love our love story the best.
Oh my, I love that.
She gave me that card. I mean, I got that in my drawer right now. I pull it out and read it from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Because after 40 years, 40 plus years, I mean, she says, I love our love story. And that's what this is about. That's what it's all about. To be able the relationship to endure the test of time.
Yes. My. And I'm gonna leave on that note. That was a perfect note. That was a homework moment. You thought I was playing. I actually really got tears in my eyes.
Um, yes. Love never goes out of style.
Never, never.
Never goes out of style.
Oh my. Thank you so much for this awesome conversation. Like I said, we could have went on forever. Um, I got a couple more minutes, but if you can tell everyone where they can reach you, and then we are going to wrap up and sail on out of here, and we'll see you on the next time.
Okay. All right. This is Ed Johnson, aka Dr. Love. That's Dr. The Real Deal Love, because I give women the real deal. I am a woman's relationship empowerment coach. You can look for me on drtherealdeallove.com. That's my website.
Mhm.
You can email me, drlove1024@gmail.com, or just Google Dr. Real Deal Love. I'll come up. And I love to hear from you because I'll tell you, in your life, remember, the best is yet to come. There's no shortage of men. Your man is making his way to you, and you've got to know that.
And we got someone that said, "Thank you for the nuggets of wisdom." So that's the cap off. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Toodles.
Goodbye for now.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of High Tea with Me. To be a guest on the show, contact us via email info@ventureready.net. Thank you again, and see you next week. That was awesome.